Hello, dear friends of our channel. I hope you are all doing very well. It is with great enthusiasm that we begin today's video. We have something very special to share. A channeled letter received by the medium Fernando Enrique Carvalho de Amorim from the Spiritist Center, Resgate Vigent, in New York. This letter, dated June 6, 2024, brings a significant message from the great star Marlon Brando, a name that echoes through the decades as one of the greatest icons of cinema. Brando was much more than just an exceptional actor. While his presence on screen immortalized characters that left an indelible mark on popular culture, Brando was, above all, a man driven by a passionate commitment to justice, equality, and human dignity. He was not satisfied with the superficiality of success or the spotlight that naturally came with his career. For him, true fulfillment was not in collecting awards or receiving applause, but in using his voice and influence to spotlight the causes he believed were essential for building a fairer world. Born in a time of profound social transformations, Brando was always an unsettled spirit, questioning norms and challenging injustices. From a young age, he demonstrated a keen sense of empathy and an unwavering will to fight for those who were forgotten or marginalized by society. His life was marked by choices that reflected an unbreakable commitment to defending human rights, especially the rights of Native Americans, whose history of suffering and resistance always touched him deeply. Brando understood that fame brought with it not only privileges but also a great responsibility. He believed that those with a powerful voice should use it to advocate for those who do not have one. This conviction was undeniably demonstrated when, in 1973, he declined the Oscar for Best Actor in protest against how Hollywood and American society treated Native Americans. This gesture, which shocked many, was for Brando an act of conscience, a cry for justice, and an appeal for the world to recognize the dignity and rights of a people who had been systematically silenced and oppressed. But Marlon Brando was not just an occasional activist. His advocacy for the underprivileged was a natural extension of who he was as a human being. Someone who deeply felt the world's pains and refused to remain silent in the face of injustice. He saw in Native Americans an ancestral wisdom, a connection to the earth, and an understanding of the world that contrasted sharply with the greed and destruction promoted by modern societies. For Brando, supporting the cause of Native Americans was also a way of honoring these values and fighting for a future where these traditions and cultures were respected and protected. Now, even after his transition to another plane, Marlon Brando continues to inspire and move hearts. In this channeled letter, we have the rare opportunity to hear his voice again. A voice that, although no longer among us physically, resonates with the same intensity and passion that marked his life. In this message, Brando guides us through a profound reflection on his journey, on what truly mattered to him, and on the causes he embraced with such fervor. He shares his motivations, his ideals, and the vision of a world where everyone, regardless of their origin or circumstance, can live with dignity, respect, and freedom. The letter that follows is not just a memory of what Marlon Brando was, but a manifesto of hope, a call to all of us. It reminds us that, although we may feel small in the face of the world's great injustices, each of us has the power to make a difference. Brando challenges us not to remain indifferent, not to settle for the inequalities that still persist, and to continue fighting for the rights of those who are often forgotten and ignored. He invites us to be part of this struggle, to commit to a fairer and more humane world, where Native Americans and all those facing oppression can finally be treated with the respect and dignity they deserve. As we delve into the words of this letter, we are called to reflect on our own lives and actions. We are invited to view the world through Marlon Brando's eyes, a man who, despite all his achievements, never lost sight of what truly mattered: love, justice, and compassion for our fellow human beings. May this message inspire each of us to continue the fight for a better world, following the example of someone who dedicated his life to making a difference. Before we read the letter, we want to remind you that we are here to offer support. If you or someone close to you is facing financial difficulties, family conflicts, addictions, or any other challenging situation, please leave your name and the names of your loved ones in the comments or send us an email. We are committed to sending prayers and good energies to all who are in need. Today's message is a valuable opportunity for us to reflect on our actions. Now, let us proceed to the message from our brother.
As I contemplate the vastness of the universe, I realize that although my journey on Earth has ended, the strength of the ideals that have always driven me still resonates among you. Throughout my life, I was many things to many people: an actor, a friend, an icon, a controversial figure. But above all, I always saw myself as a human being in search of purpose, trying to understand what it meant to live in a world filled with inequalities, injustices, and suffering. The film industry provided me with recognition and a platform, but I never allowed the fleeting glamour of Hollywood to obscure my vision of what truly mattered. It is true that my roles on screen earned applause, but the real challenges, the true struggles, happened off camera, at the heart of a society that insists on forgetting its most vulnerable children. I always felt a deep connection with the marginalized, the forgotten, those whose voices have been silenced by history. My decision to decline the Oscar in 1973 was more than an act of defiance. It was a declaration of love and solidarity with Native Americans, whose rights have been repeatedly violated over the centuries. Witnessing the suffering, the loss of cultural identity, and the dehumanization of this people broke my heart. I knew that my gesture would be just a grain of sand in a desert of injustices, but it was necessary. I needed to show the world that there was something far more important than golden trophies and glamour. There were human lives at stake. There was a legitimate struggle for recognition and dignity. The culture and history of Native Americans have always fascinated and inspired me. In their traditions, I saw ancient wisdom, a deep connection with the earth, a way of living that respected nature and others, something that the modern world, in its insane rush for progress, has lost sight of. I always believed that by supporting their cause, I was, in a way, seeking to redeem the injustices committed by those who came before us and built a system that continues to oppress and exploit. Even now, on the other side of the veil, I feel that the work is not yet complete. The fight for equality and justice is eternal, and each of you has the power and responsibility to continue this battle. Do not be deceived by the divisions the world insists on creating, whether they are of race, class, religion, or culture. Deep down, we all share the same divine essence. We are all brothers and sisters on a common journey, and only by recognizing this can we begin to heal the wounds that separate us. Looking back, I see that the moments that truly mattered in my life were not those of fame or fortune, but rather the moments when I was able to touch someone's heart, when I could stand up for a just cause, when I could be a voice for those who had none. I hope that in your journey, you find the same meaning in your actions. If there is one thing I can ask of you, it is not to let indifference take over your hearts. The world needs brave souls willing to stand up for the weak, the oppressed, the forgotten. We need, now more than ever, compassion, empathy, and love. We need people who look beyond themselves and are willing to fight for a future where everyone can live with dignity and respect. Remember that every gesture, no matter how small, can make a difference. You may not have the platform I had, but you have something even more powerful: the ability to love, to care, to act. And that, my friends, is what truly moves mountains. Continue fighting for the rights of Native Americans, for minorities, for the poor, for the oppressed. Move forward with courage, determination, and an open heart. Because in the end, what truly matters is not what we achieve for ourselves, but what we do to make the world a better place for all. With deep respect and love, Marlon Brando.
End of message. Marlon Brando lived a life as complex as the characters he portrayed on screen. He redefined what it meant to be a film actor, bringing a level of emotional depth and authenticity that was rare for his time. His performances, particularly in films like A Streetcar Named Desire, The Wild One, and The Godfather, not only showcased his technical skills but also introduced a new style of acting that influenced generations of actors. Brando was not content with merely being a movie star. He was a man of deep convictions who used his platform to address social and political issues that were important to him. From his refusal to accept the Oscar in protest against the treatment of Native Americans in Hollywood to his support for civil rights and participation in social movements, Brando demonstrated that fame could be a force for good. However, Brando was also a contradictory figure. Despite his activism and the respect he commanded as an artist, he was known for being difficult to work with, often challenging directors and producers, and leading a personal life full of turmoil. His internal struggles, both professionally and personally, reflect the complexity of a man who, while achieving great heights in his career, also faced significant failures and deep suffering. Throughout his career, Brando experienced highs and lows but remained steadfast in his commitment to emotional truth in his art. Even when his professional choices led him to less notable films, his presence was always impactful. He never shied away from roles that challenged him or exposed the darker aspects of the human condition, as evidenced by his haunting portrayal of Colonel Kurtz in Apocalypse Now. When Brando passed away in 2004, The world lost not only a great actor, but also a man with a unique perspective on life and art. His legacy continues to be studied, celebrated, and debated. His contribution to cinema goes far beyond his iconic performances. Brando fundamentally changed how actors approach their roles, how audiences understand characters, and how cinema can be a tool for expressing important social issues. Brando's legacy is vast and enduring. He stands as an example of what is possible when an artist is fully committed to his craft and beliefs. His impact is evident in every generation of actors that followed him, and his films remain references for anyone interested in the art of acting. More than any award or recognition, perhaps Marlon Brando's greatest legacy is how he made the world feel, profoundly and memorably. He showed us that cinema in his hands could be much more than entertainment. It could be a window into the human soul. What are your thoughts on the letter attributed to Marlon? Comment and share your opinions, as they are very important to us. Remember, our goal is not to convert you to Spiritism, but to encourage a broad, non-prejudiced perspective while respecting others' beliefs. Our aim is to transform lives and give a voice to those who need to communicate. Thank you for staying with us. If you liked it, leave a like, subscribe to our channel, activate the notification bell, and stay updated with all our videos. May peace be with you and your family.